Hey everybody, Kyle Goethe here from GoatFilmReviews.com and the Goat Film Reviews channel on YouTube, and I've got another movie haul. I decided to get the filming done for the October and earlier stuff done in November because I knew November is a big month for movie collectors, Black Friday purchases, all sorts of sales. And if you're a movie collector, you appreciate a good sale. So we're going to talk about what I bought in November of 2021 today as we go through this giant stack of movies that I've taken part in. Let me grab this chair to set stuff down on when I'm done. Okay, let's just jump right in. I don't really have a rhyme or reason or organization to it because there's too many to go through in that way. So we'll just talk about the ones that we have while we go through them and drop down your comments of what you watched in November, what you bought in November if you're a collector like me, what you think about any of the movies that I bought. Because some of these I've watched, some of these I haven't. So let's start with this one right here, The Maltese Falcon. I had not seen The Maltese Falcon before picking this up. This was a Walmart purchase. Classic film. My co-host on Kyle and Nick on Film, Nick Blotachuk, this is, I think, his favorite movie. And I hadn't seen it yet. And I know we were going to talk about it this season on the show. So I'm like, I'm going to pick this thing up. It's a classic, so I figured, why not, you know? Oh, and what's cool about this, I mentioned this on the episode when we were recording it too, but this version of the Blu-ray actually comes with three radio show adaptations, which are apparently kind of harder to find. So if you're interested in some of the special features, there's radio adaptations. Also, during the Criterion Collection 50% off sale at Barnes & Noble, I picked up Klute. Klute feels like it's a forgotten film in a lot of ways. It's the first film in Alan J. Pakula's Paranoia trilogy. The other two films being The Parallax View and All the President's Men. This one seems like it was more forgotten. In fact, the only thing I really knew about it was that it was featured on an episode of American Dad. It was like a Christmas episode. He had to go back in time and I think kill Donald Sutherland to prevent this movie from being made, something like that. This is another one we're going to be doing for the show towards the end of the year here, so I wanted to get a hold of it. Good Criterion Collection set. You can't get wrong with that. And it seemed like when this one came out, everyone was making the joke that any serious Criterion owner would have a copy of Klute, even if they didn't like the movie. And I'm a little bit mixed on it myself, but you can see my thoughts on that in the episode. I found this one, upgraded my DVD to 4K for this film, The Requiem for a Dream, which is Darren Aronofsky's, like, kind of his breakout movie. I think he made Pi before this, but this is the one that put him on the map and kind of sent him down the track. Anyone who watches this movie can tell you that it's not the movie you watch before going to sleep at night. This is the one you watch before you watch a comedy to then go to sleep at night. This is one of the most depressing movies I've ever seen. This is the director's cut on 4K. It's a rough watch. I've only seen it a couple of times. I watched it with some friends in college, and then I watched it with my wife when she had to write about it for a class. Interesting that she had to write about a movie for a class, and I didn't write about this one. But I've seen it a couple times, and it's a great movie, but it is a hard watch. It's just really well made, and I'm one of those guys. Hard watch movies don't necessarily muck with me. Like, I can watch it a couple of times. Most people are like, why would you pick out that movie? You wouldn't want to watch it. Well, yeah, I don't really care. I'll watch depressing movies, sure, if they're well made and if they kind of hit with me the right way, and this one does. Also picked this up right here. This was had to get Pee-wee's Christmas special. This is the Pee-wee's Playhouse Christmas special, if you don't know. So I have a unfair love for Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Pee-wee's Playhouse. I grew up with that kind of stuff. One day when we go down and check out the movie room that I have, I'll show you some of the cool collectibles I have with that. But I have Big Top Pee-wee, Pee-wee's Big Adventure, and I have the complete series for Pee-wee's Playhouse. So it's released in 2 DVD sets. But strangely enough, there was 5 seasons of Pee-wee's Playhouse, but like some of the seasons had like 3 episodes, and then some had like 20 episodes. So they kind of jammed them all in there, but they don't have the Christmas special, which was like, I think it was like a 2-part episode where he gets a bunch of visitors and celebrating Christmas. It's a fun thing to watch during the holiday season, and it's not included in that DVD set. So when I saw this, I was like, it was a little bit out of what I wanted to pay for it, but it might not be around for much longer if I don't nab it now. So Pee-wee's Playhouse, the Christmas special. Up next we have the 4K for The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard. I was so excited for The Hitman's Bodyguard when it came out, and I watched the first movie before going to see this in the theater, and I was kind of underwhelmed. It was really long. It was 2 hours. I didn't think it was all that funny. I thought it was going to be more of like a spoof of The Bodyguard, because the trailers all were. But it wasn't. It was just kind of an okay action comedy. I didn't laugh that much. I didn't think the action was that thrilling. Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard is a noticeable step in the right direction. It's not a great movie still, but this is one that is definitely more watchable. I think the infusion of Selma Hayek makes the movie a little bit funnier. She has good chemistry with both Ryan Reynolds and Sam Jackson. I think Antonio Banderas being the villain is kind of fun, because then when he interacts with Selma Hayek, you get those Desperado vibes. And Morgan Freeman's in it. He doesn't do a lot in the movie, but he's in it. It's a step in the right direction. I like that it's a shorter movie, too. It feels better paced at 90 minutes than that 2-hour-long first film. And I'll revisit the first one before I watch this one again, but I just had to complete the twofer, I guess. Also, you know me, I'm a huge fan of this franchise because I understand what this franchise is. This is the 4K for it, The Fast Saga F9. The Fast and the Furious movies are grindhouse movies. They are they're B action movies with an A action budget. That's what this franchise is. And what people don't understand is that these movies are getting increasingly more stupid and ridiculous. That's kind of the point, is that they're kind of supposed to be over the top. Now this one, I maintain, this one goes too far. There's a number of plot elements that went past the moment where I could accept it. Maybe on a rewatch I'll think differently, but I enjoy the movie. It's a lot of fun, but there's the level of like over-the-topness where it kind of jumps the jumping of the shark and becomes ridiculous and stupid to the point where it kind of loses you. This movie has a lot of that. There's even references to like, how are we not dead? We must be invincible. I think Tyrese's character says that. That's pushing it, because you still want there to be a believability that any of these characters could come into danger. And for the last several movies, someone has died in each one of these movies. A character has been killed off from the core group. It's not always a big character, but someone is always taken out in one of these movies. And so to kind of bridge the gap of like, well, we can't die, that kind of hurts it. But it's an enjoyable movie. It's ridiculous. I just hope they right a couple of the wrongs that this movie did. It's, I think, the first one not written by the guy who did 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Or 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, I believe, all was the same writer. And I think he jumped ship to Hobbs and Shaw. Hopefully they get him back to work on F10 and F11, because, this one just kind of pushes it a little bit further than it needs to go. And we still don't know what happened to Kurt Russell's character. Kurt Russell's a freaking dream. Bring him back. I don't know if he's dead or not. Another one here. I like these boutique kind of cinema areas. I don't have a lot of these ones from Vestron Video. I think I have the Wishmaster set, and that's about it. But this one was a pretty inexpensive set, and I remember this movie, but I don't remember much about it. Little Monsters. Fred Savage and Howie Mandel, and he's a monster, and I remember he likes eating chips or something. I don't know much about the movie. I remember this was like a pinnacle of television in the 90s when I was growing up, so I'm curious to see how I feel about it a little bit older, but it's Vestron Video. They have tons of interesting special features. This is kind of like what I would call the dime store Shout Factory, because they're not like really high-end movies, and I think they're all from the Vestron company, so not all of them are like winners, but there's some goodies in here, and check it out. This next movie is something I've heard from a lot of people that it's terrible, and that's why I only bought the cheapest copy I could find, because I still wanted to watch it, because I like the video game it's based on, and that is Monster Hunter. It's Paul W.S. Anderson's return to making movies about video games that seem to tell that he's not actually played any, and same with Mila Jovovich, who appears as the leader in the film. I've heard it's absolutely terrible, but I also think Paul W.S. Anderson, if you know what you're watching, they're enjoyable. Like, I find something to like about most of the Resident Evil movies that he did, because he does have this kind of frenetic stupidity that's entertaining. I'll never say that he's got, a lot of good movies in his repertoire, but this one, I gotta check it out. I've been wanting to, because I really love the video game. It was the first video game my wife bought for me when she got me a Christmas gift. The first time she had a paycheck after getting out of school. And so I really liked the game. I enjoyed the heck out of it, and I want to see kind of what the movie has entail. It was also incredibly cheap, or I probably would have passed on it. Let's see here. The next one's a twofer. I couldn't get the sticker off this one, but it's two parts. It's the Batman: The Long Halloween, Part 1 and 2. Let's see if I can get the sticker off while we're talking about it. So we talked about both of these on the show. Pretty close. We talked about both these on Kyle and Nick on Film. Nick is a huge Batman fan, so he wanted to talk about it. And I've enjoyed a lot of the animated DC stuff that they've done. And I like that actually DC is here's a better version of it. So one's got the slipcover and one doesn't, but like that's generally speaking what they look like side by side. I really enjoy the DC animated stuff. I think they do a better animated universe than they do a live action universe, because they kind of adapt stories they want to adapt and then just kind of fit them in and use the same voice actors, so it's the same characters, but it's not a forced universe, which is kind of cool. Yeah, this would be, I think, parts 3 and 4 of the new, like the DC, I think it's called the DC Rebirth universe. So the DC animated universe, which ended with, it started with Flashpoint Paradox, and it ended with Apocalypse War, which was the Justice League Dark R-rated movie. That was the finale of that universe. That one ended. They started a new one to kind of like just get refreshed and tell different stories, I guess, that can follow a different continuity. And they started with Man of Tomorrow, the Superman movie. And then there was Justice Society World War II, which was a time travel, kind of a Flash-led movie. And then this, which was supposed to come out before Justice Society, was the two-part Long Halloween parts 1 and 2. So this is parts 3 and 4 of that universe. I hope that makes sense. I should do a video one day talking about the timelines of these things. Great story. I think it could have been done as one movie. Each one is about 90 minutes, but I think you could have probably told the story in about 2.5 hours total or less and made it one movie, but obviously they wanted to make double the money, but gotcha. I waited till they were super cheap. Yeah, they're enjoyable. The animation's great, and DC just tells really great animated stories. Let's see here. Back to the well for another video game adaptation. This is the 4K copy of Mortal Kombat. I dug the movie. I'm upset to say that it's not about Mortal Kombat. It's a prequel to an eventual Mortal Kombat movie. That's my biggest problem with it. I think the action is great. I think the characterizations on many of the characters, while looking a little cheap, works pretty well. It's a fun movie. I think they knocked it out of the park with Scorpion. I think Sub-Zero is pretty solid too, although I wish he hadn't been such a strong force at the head of the film. But I enjoyed it, and I would like to see where they go with a follow-up, and I would like to see them keep with the R rating. Hopefully they will, because it was a fun movie. It just, there's things they can learn to do better with the next one. Let's see here. I picked up a couple of Criterion films during their half-off sale. I like these. I do like long movies. I like movies where that feel like a long, either journey or like a time that you can spend inside someone's life. So I just went on this like trek of these like long 4-hour movies. So one of the ones I picked up was A Brighter Summer Day, which a lot of the people in my Criterion subreddit are really into. This one runs just under 4 hours. I don't know much about Edward Yang. I don't. But everyone I've talked to said this is one of those like just good sit down with like a coffee and watch movies. I don't know when I'm going to find 4 hours to watch this thing. All my long Criterions are still packaged up because I haven't gotten time to watch them. But I did pick up A Brighter Summer Day. I also got this one right here, Until the End of the World, and I believe this is the director's cut from Wim Wenders. It's kind of in a lot of ways like its own movie, but it's connected to his road trilogy, his unofficial road trilogy, of which I have. It's some of the characters that appeared in that do show up in this and other films, and William Hurt's in it. It just looked like a really cool like it's called a sci-fi road trip movie. I don't know anything about this one, but this is the 5-hour director's cut. So again, not sure when I'm going to get time to watch this bad boy, but I'm really excited to watch it one day soon. I keep feeling like, because I get up on days off when I have no like significant plans, nothing I have to jump to, and I'll watch a movie with my cats. I'll pour some coffee and watch a movie, but it's usually like 90 minutes to 2 hours. Like that's the amount of time I have. And I like to watch these things in a collectively short amount of time. You know, be it like a morning where I can take a break, maybe make some breakfast and come back. But like, when am I going to get time to? I don't know. And it's tougher when you have a movie that's in other languages too, because you want to be able to stay focused on reading those subtitles and paying attention to the screen. It is kind of it is something you do sometimes need to have practice with, is reading subtitles while watching the movie. and doing that tired can be difficult. So I'm gonna find time for it. I just don't know when. I keep thinking to myself, when my wife like goes to visit family one time or something like that, I'll have like a day. You know, last year she got snowed in at work and I wasn't able to go get her, and it was like 2 nights before Christmas. I should have watched one of these movies then, because I know it's not her cup of tea. I didn't. I played GTA till like 4 in the morning. I should have watched one of these movies then, but we'll see. Another long movie. This one comes in at just over 3.5 hours, but this is, I think, the director's cut for Heaven's Gate. This was another Criterion pickup. Again, I have no excuse. I don't really know much about the movie. It bankrupted an entire company, but I like westerns. I like kind of those like long period piece movies to follow characters on a trek through time or a trek on a journey. It seems like it's right up my alley, this kind of movie. And I know if some people said the original cut of it was really bad and it bankrupted a studio, but this has to be better. Let's see here. This one was nominated for Best Picture last year, and I was surprised at how much I dug it. Promising Young Woman. Not surprised in the sense that I thought the movie would be bad. I didn't think when I saw it get nominated for Best Picture, I was like, okay, so it's probably not as crazy as I thought it would be, because Best Picture tends not to be that crazy. This is a crazy movie. It feels like it's a revenge thriller, comedy, action film with some biting social satire, and some deep themes that are at times difficult to watch, but it's also like, it's so memorable, it's so stylish. This movie being nominated for Best Picture really surprised the hell out of me. So I like the movie quite a bit. Last year I actually watched every single nominee from the Oscars, like all 42 of them or whatever they were, every short, every doc, every foreign film, everything that was nominated for an Oscar I saw before the actual event. This is one of the last ones I caught because I had to go rent a disc of it. I couldn't stream it somewhere. So yeah, I was really, really into this movie. My wife's asked me to watch it a few times. Now that we have it, we'll be able to. But this one was the last movie I think I saw, or the second to last. And I think it's my favorite movie from 2020. I watched it 4 months after the end of the year, so it didn't end up on my top 10. But The Father from Florian Zeller, starring Anthony Hopkins. If you're criticizing the fact that Hopkins won Best Actor at the Oscars and you haven't seen this movie, you should. I don't know. I'm a little bit torn because like I would probably have given it to Boseman for his performance because I really like Boseman's performance in his movie, but this is really good too, and I can't fight anyone who voted for Hopkins. It's brilliant. It's also, it looks on the surface. This cover looks boring. The poster looked boring. I didn't watch a trailer for it because I didn't want to know what was going to happen, but I also didn't really get into anything. No, everyone telling me it's so great, I was like, this looks boring. This movie is fantastic. It runs a tight 97 minutes. It's a play on film. It's a tough watch. It's powerful. It stays with you, and it's fueled by some truly gripping performances and a really great understanding of how to adapt to the screen from Florian Zeller. It's amazing. This one right here was the last movie I saw from the Oscars last year before the event, which was Minari. I really enjoyed this one. This actually feels to me like a movie that probably could have been longer because you're just kind of existing in the time. It's got a story, but it's more about a journey of a family in a location trying to get themselves on their feet. So it's less about like plot movements and more about the time spent, and it feels like you're eating, it feels like a bunch of slices of pie. You know, it's slice of life in a pie, a whole pie. So you're watching all these little slice of life moments as they try to land their family on their feet. Got great characters in it. Stephen Yeun from The Walking Dead is great as the father in the film. It's just a solid movie to exist in for 2 hours. All right. This was one I really, really enjoyed from last year, Mulan, the Disney live-action film. You might shoot me. I think this is probably, I think it's better than the animated movie. I'm saying it. I've never been huge on the animated Mulan. I like the music in it. I like the movie. I'm not huge on it. I really, really liked how they turned it into kind of an epic, an action spectacle war film, and actually did that. And they weren't afraid to have some high octane action in there. have some really great story. And the way that they molded it, I think, worked pretty darn well. I was into this Mulan film, and I think if we're looking at films that improved upon their original that were Disney live actions versus how much it didn't take away from the other ones, like comparing the animated to the live action, I think this is the best quality jump in what it does. And you might not like it as much as the original one, but I do think it's a really solid movie, and I enjoyed it, and I can't wait to watch it again. Yeah, about the Twilight movies on Blu-ray. So let me take a couple steps back with this one. My wife Jamie, she grew up reading the books. One of our first dates, and I think it was after I left for college. Actually, one of our early dates in our relationship, I drove back to Grand Forks. It was a halfway point between where we lived, and we went to see the opening night for Twilight at midnight. I did not like the movie. It's a bad movie. We went to see the second one in theaters as well. I liked it more, but I still did not like it. I don't think we saw the other ones in the theaters, but we eventually did catch them. And she's not as big on the books or the movies as she was when she was a teen, but she's got kind of a certain amount of like, it's trashy, but I enjoy it. So I picked this up to upgrade her copies to Blu-ray. Also, it saves space on my shelf. When you see my shelves, you'll know why. There were 5 DVDs. Now there's 1 Blu-ray that has all 5 movies. So that's going to save me some space too. And this is one of those things too. I will watch these movies with her because they're bad. I don't like them. They're trashy. They're bad. But man, if you have a couple drinks in you, they're kind of so bad they're good at times. They're just trashy fun. And she likes them knowing that they're bad. And I'll let her have that. So, the Twilight Saga. That was all 5 movies there. Slimmed it up, upgraded the Blu-ray. That whole chestnut. I'm way behind on The Walking Dead, guys. But I've got season 10 here. This was just... These seasons get really expensive if you want to have the home video release. So finding them on sale, you just got to grab them. I think I stopped watching The Walking Dead in season 7 about halfway through. Not because I didn't like it. I just didn't have AMC at that point, and so buying to download the episodes, I just kind of fell behind on, dropping $3 an episode to watch them. And I just prefer physical media, so when I got that far, like a couple weeks behind on it, I was like, yeah, screw it. It'll be out on home video soon. I'll just pick it up then. So I have all the seasons of the show. I'm way behind, so I haven't seen the last 7 episodes of season 7. I haven't seen any of season 8, none of season 9, none of season 10. The show's ending at season 11, so now I'm on the ride. I've been to pretty much the end of it almost. So I want to see how it turns out. I recently got into Fear the Walking Dead. I watched the first 3 seasons of that. I'm interested in kind of checking out World Beyond. I like that it's a planned 2-season story, so I want to check that out too. I'm in on it. I like this series. I get that the quality is maybe not where people want it to be anymore, but I've dug all the stuff that people said I wouldn't like on that show. I'm just into it. I enjoy the show, and so I want to see it end on the right note. So I'm going to check out season 10. I will get caught up on it at some point. I've been kind of focused on watching movies that I have to watch because they're quicker. You can get their movie in 90 minutes. This season 10, they added episodes because of coronavirus because they couldn't do a whole other season. This season comes in at 17 hours. That's going to take some time. I'm not there yet. So, let's see. This is another one that's wrapped up. I should have taken these stickers off beforehand. So while I'm taking the sticker off of this one, I'll talk about this movie. Nobody. I got the 4K of Nobody. This is a cheap Best Buy pickup for the 4K. I had not seen the film when I picked it up, but I was really interested in checking it out because everyone had told me no, it's not just another John Wick movie. But it's the same. I think it's the same screenwriter, and it's from the director of Hardcore Henry. It's really good. This might be on my top 10 of the year because it was just a lot of fun to watch. It felt even more like a 90s action thriller than John Wick did. John Wick's kind of got its own style where it feels like it's got an own internal mythology that just keeps building, and it kind of elevates the film. And maybe this franchise, if it becomes one, will do the same thing. Nobody has an internal mythology, but it feels more gritty, more 90s, more in the realm of beating people up for fun. There is a mythology to it. I like as we learn more about the characters, how it builds up on it. It's just a damn good movie. It's a damn good action thriller, and I really enjoyed watching it. I want to watch it again. Christopher Lloyd is great as the father of our main character. I don't know if we'll see a sequel for this anytime soon. I think it made money, but Bob Odenkirk, he had his heart attack on the set of Better Call Saul, and I gotta imagine this is probably a tougher movie to make. It's probably very physically demanding. So I'm concerned. I don't want him to make the movie if he's not healthy enough to make the movie. Make that be known. But I'm concerned that we probably won't see another follow-up in this film, and I think it has the seeds in place. It doesn't need a follow-up, but I would watch one. Up next, we got the 4K for Don't Breathe 2. I missed this one in theaters. I tend to go and see movies that are suggested to me by other critics I know. No one I know really got excited about Don't Breathe 2. I was excited because I'd heard from people behind the scenes that it was like the greatest idea for a sequel ever. It seems to me like they kind of turned the blind man into a good guy, and if you've seen the first movie, that feels problematic. I don't know how I'm going to like him being the guy I'm following for the movie, but I really dug the first one. I'm a little bit of a completionist, and it was really inexpensive for the 4K of Don't Breathe 2, so yeah, I'm going to check it out. It's going to happen anyway, so I'm just going to do it. This is one of the movies from last year's Oscars that I caught kind of later on. I think I watched it the same day as Promising Young Woman, and that was News of the World from Paul Greengrass. I got the 4K of it here, Tom Hanks. It's a nice little Western movie. I didn't love it, but I feel like it's a movie that on a second watch, knowing what the movie is, going through it again, I'll like it more. It's a slow burn Western. It's not the trailers kind of sold it as a bit of an action Western. It's not really. It's a bit of a slow burn. It's kind of like True Grit without the comedy. Because it's not a funny movie, but it kind of feels like that older, grizzled cowboy feeling, bringing the younger girl somewhere safe. I don't know. I dig a lot of elements of it. I'm excited to watch it again because I think I'll like it even more the second time, just knowing what the movie is. I also last month upgraded my copy of 30 Days of Night to Blu-ray. I really dig the first 30 Days of Night movie. I really don't dig the sequel. And that's one where even though I'm a completionist, I'll probably never own that copy because it's a bad sequel. But this first one's pretty solid. It's a cool concept. I've never read the comic books, but I feel like I'd like them. And it's just a fun 2007 horror movie. We covered it on Kyle and Nick on Film, and it kind of made me want to rewatch it again after the fact. So I will be checking this one out again. But David Slade's a pretty cool director. He did Hard Candy. He actually did one of the Twilight movies, Eclipse, which I think probably the best one. Slade is he's solid. He's worked on some television shows recently, but hopefully he keeps doing some horror movies because he's got a good technique to him. I recently got into the Three Stooges during the quarantine time when I was stuck at home a lot more. They were shorter films I could watch. They were like 10 to 15 minutes a piece, so I could check out a bunch of them one morning without feeling like, get the accomplishment of checking out a movie, but it's just a short film, really. This is The Three Stooges, the complete DVD collection. This is 1934 to 1959. It covers all 8 of the volumes in this set. I actually had... So I had the first set of these, which was, where is volume 1? 1934 to 36. I have the first set of these. I watched them. Someone gave me the digital for the second set, which is 37 to 39. But I hadn't seen the other ones, and they were kind of pricey. But when I found this set was a lot cheaper of a price, so I picked this set up because it just, that's, if I can watch these things for a little bit cheaper, it's a 17-disc set, and it's massive with stuff. There's 3,207 minutes. I'm blanking on what that would even be. That's 50 hours? 53? Something like that? It's a lot. That's a lot of stuff. So this is going to take a while to get through. But I dig the Three Stooges, and it's nice to be able to watch something kind of a little bit light and fluffier when I'm getting up in the morning sometimes. So this was an upgrade from my Blu-rays to my 4Ks for this. This is the Kingsman 2 movie collection on 4K. This contains the 4Ks for the Secret Service and the Golden Circle. I almost did an unboxing for this, but then I realized it's just the 4Ks. There's no special discs, there's no special features. I got it because it was $10. So I felt like $10 for 2 4Ks upgraded from 2 Blu-rays seemed pretty good to me. And we were going to go see The Kingsman, which is the prequel, and I hadn't seen The Golden Circle yet. I've owned The Golden Circle for too long to not have seen it, but I was like, I should get this and we'll watch it. my cat had surgery, and so we were able to check these movies out while we were kind of waiting with him to recover. So Kingsman 2 movie collection. This I really like the Golden Circle when I finally saw it. I don't know if I like it as much or more than the Secret Service, but almost as much. I really dug it. A lot of people told me I wouldn't like it, but I kind of dug the Golden Circle. It was a lot of fun. It was goofier, and I like the sillier aspect of Kingsman, because if I want something serious in my action, I'll watch a John Wick, or I'll watch kind of the grittier Jason or James Bonds. If I want something serious, I have plenty of serious options. This is one that kind of embraces the goofier aspects of the James Bond spy mythos, and it works really well. I like both of them. I upgraded my DVD copy of The Incredible Hulk to 4K. This is, I think, one of the 2 DVDs I had in my MCU collection, the other one being the first Iron Man. And upgrading Marvel movies is expensive. They cost a lot of money, so like I wasn't gonna like force myself to upgrade any of these things unless there was a good deal. And this being one that was released by Universal means they didn't charge as much for The Incredible Hulk. So yeah, I was like, well, I'll get this one. It was like $10 to go from DVD to 4K, and I actually really dig The Incredible Hulk from '08. I think I like it more than the first Iron Man movie. When everybody's talking about Iron Man after '08, I was talking about The Incredible Hulk. I just like the character a little bit more, and I just had more fun watching the movie. So I'm not gonna say I think it's a better movie, but if I were to rank MCU movies, I'd put it above the original Iron Man. Let's see here. I guess on the same kind of subject, I got the 4K for Black Widow. I dug this movie. This is exactly what a Black Widow movie should be. And in that way, I did tell somebody, like, it's not a criticism. This is what this movie should have been. I guessed where a lot of it was going. It wasn't as surprising. But as far as, like, making a Black Widow movie into a spy thriller, and kind of a hard, gritty one at times, too. Like, there's some stuff here that pushes the boundary of that PG-13. And pushes the boundaries of, like, you know, Disney-owned property, because it gets pretty hard and intense at times. But it also has some great characters in it too. I loved Red Guardian, Natasha's father, played by David Harbour. I like the family aspect of the film. Taskmaster is a little bit of a meh villain. It's okay, but it's not great for that. But there's some really good stuff in this movie and some great action scenes. It's between this and Shang-Chi and Eternals, and I haven't seen Spider-Man yet, but between the 3 of those films that came out, yeah, it's my 3rd favorite of them. I liked Shang-Chi way more, and I liked Eternals more because it felt like something new and unique, whereas this is something I expected. This movie doesn't need to exist, but if it's going to exist, it's well made and I liked it. One of my favorite horror movie franchises is one that I actually got to grow up with and go to see these movies in the theater. That was Saw, so I finally upgraded my copy of Saw to 4K. I'm not getting rid of my DVD because it has signatures from some of the performers in the movie on it, so that'll be still sitting down there anyway. But I love Saw. I love this movie and I love this franchise. So getting this 4K of Saw, the unrated cut too, which is just a little bit gorier, like 10 seconds gorier. So it's unrated is not that much, but I love this movie. It means a lot to me. It's part of my growing up. Like, I didn't get to live during the 80s when kids were growing up with Freddy and Jason and Michael, and I love those characters, I love those franchises, but this one felt like it was kind of for me. Like, this was like for my age group. I was like 14 when the first one came out, and I just got into it, and I really, really dug this, and so getting this on 4K was a nice treat. And I was waiting until I did that one to show off this one. This is, I think, the Best Buy exclusive, or it's it's just the 4K. Just the 4K, but Spiral from the Book of Saw. I like this movie. It's not upper echelon, because I just wish, like, it kind of has the same problem as the Ghostbusters 2016 film. That was Paul Feig's film. A little bit less so, because it still is in the same realm as Saw, but it felt to me like a movie that kind of like made it a point to not be a Saw movie until it wanted to be a Saw movie at times. So it kind of gave me this mixed feeling of like, it doesn't add as much to a mythology person like me. I don't go to Saw for the gore. I go for like the twists and turns, the story, and I like the mythology. I like building on that. Every film in the Saw franchise builds on the mythology a little bit more. So that's like, I really dug the movie. I thought Chris Rock's character was a lot of fun to watch. I saw the ending coming a mile away. It's not a great twist setup. Part of that comes with just they break a few of their structural rules as the film goes on, and when they do, you notice it, and it doesn't seem right, and you start to put together how it's going to end. So it's flawed. I dug it. I would like to see something a little bit closer to like Saw Prime, though. I saw a post that the writers for this were working on a new Saw film, and it said it will make John Kramer fans happy. I'm hoping that they bridge the films. I'm hoping we see a sequel with Chris Rock teaming up with one of the few surviving cops. There's one cop that survives from Jigsaw. Have him team up with him and try to find out something about this movie. I'm not going to be able to say more than that because I don't want to spoil it. But I dug this movie. It's a cool looking box too, and I've got to keep my Saw family together. Speaking of cool boxes, got the Scanners Blu-ray from Criterion. I wasn't a huge fan of this movie when I first watched it, but I love David Cronenberg and I wanted to give it another try. My wife wanted to watch it. We picked this up, not just because of that. I'll explain why in a second. Another reason why we have this movie, but it's a good director's breakout performance. Really crazy kind of sci-fi movie. It's not a horror movie. Maybe that's part of it too. Is I was sold that this was a horror movie, and it's not. It's a sci-fi movie. So I liked it the first time. I wasn't huge on it. But I've watched so many more Cronenberg films since seeing this for the first time that I wanted to revisit it. And it's a cool Criterion box set. It's got that Scanners breakout on there. I love this cover art. I like horror movies and sci-fi stuff and like genre film on Criterion because I just think it's kind of that like wink wink nudge, like this is a high quality of the genre films. I dig the box for that, so I'm excited to watch it. The other reason was I came into possession of this last month. Scanners 2, The New Order, and Scanners 3, The Takeover. This is a Scream Factory release of these two films, and I believe, I'm not sure, but it might be out of print. I couldn't find a copy when I was looking a while ago, and I came into possession of this copy by accident, kind of, happenstance, long story. But I ended up with Scanners 2 and 3, and I was like, well, I gotta get Scanners 1 now, so I went and bought that. Again, I like this kind of like franchise stuff. I've heard not great things about these two sequels, which is probably why they're packaged together. But Scanners Trilogy, maybe it'll be a ranking soon or something like that. But I've got those. We actually just watched this movie last night for the first time. This is one we missed in theaters, and that is David Lowery's The Green Knight. This is the 4K of this film. This is a really good movie. This will be in my top 10 of the year. I can almost guarantee it. I don't think I'll see enough movies this year to knock this out in the last couple of weeks. I really, really enjoyed it. I've read Sir Gawain in The Green Knight too many times to count. In every English class I ever took, we read this story. I really like the adaptation that's here. It doesn't change everything, but it adds a stamp to a lot of stuff. Lowery's own stamp of approval to it. I really, really dug this movie, guys. We watched it last night for the first time. This is actually when we were going to see in the theater, but I started developing symptoms of COVID. And I was like, well, I got to go to a test. And we only had one weekend that we could see it. We were so busy that month that it came out. And I got symptoms of COVID, so I had to go get tested. And I didn't get answers back until the weekend was done. And then we just couldn't find another weekend to go see it. And I was really hoping to take my wife to it because she really wanted to see this movie. And we didn't get the chance to do so. So we missed out on it, but I was able to get the 4K of it. We watched it last night. I really, really dug it. And we're probably going to watch it on Christmases to come because it is a Christmas movie. Back to the world of video games movies. This is Mortal Kombat Legends Battle of the Realms. I'll be honest with you, I almost didn't buy this out of spite for Warner Brothers. I'll say this right now, Warner Brothers screwed me with the previous film, which I think Scorpion's Revenge. This is the follow-up to that. Scorpion's Revenge I bought last year. It did not come with a digital code. And that's not the end of the world, but it said it came with one. And I reached out to Warner Brothers and they said they were not going to do anything about that. And Best Buy wouldn't do anything about that. So shame on both of you. I picked it up because it was really inexpensive, and I guess I've just trained myself not to trust Warner Brothers to stand by their products. That's just, it is what it is. I'm going to tell you guys, I'm going to be honest with you. I was really pissed about that when I didn't get a digital code for it, because it says on the package it came with one. If it wasn't going to come with one, fine. But I was pissed about that. And then I ended up opening up my Rick and Morty Season 2, which I had picked up a little bit earlier. That didn't have a code either. And I didn't even bother reaching out to them about that. There are some aspects of Warner Brothers' support team that are really great. Their HBO team really great. They helped recover my account when it was jacked earlier this year. They were really great about helping me figure that out. But the team that works with their home video releases on support sucks. I'm very disappointed in what they did. That's a little refrain past. The first movie, Scorpion's Revenge, is really good. If this movie, I figured I could probably get it at $5 on Blu-ray and be okay where it's like, yeah, I'm still giving them $5, but like, even if it doesn't come with a code, it's $5 then. I really like the first movie. That's kind of got the same thing where it's like, it's kind of a setup for the tournament in a lot of ways. So I'm curious to see what this one kind of comes down to. I just like the mythology of Mortal Kombat. I do. I'm going to like probably everything they do with Mortal Kombat. This is a movie from my childhood. We're like halfway. Oh, God. It's a movie from my childhood. Major Pain with Damon Wayans. This is a bad movie. I'll just be real. It's not a cinema classic in any way, but it's funny. I remember it from my childhood, and I thought, for the price that it was, I'm gonna check this one out again, because it's been at least 10 years, probably 15 years since I watched Major Pain. And though it's not a great movie, I'm gonna enjoy watching it. That much I can say for certain. Major Pain. It's a ridiculous movie. I upgraded my copy of Vacation. I had European Vacation on Blu-ray, and I had a 2-pack with the first Vacation and European on DVD, and I just wanted to get rid of that DVD. It was kind of scratched up a little bit from Overwatched, and I was like, you know what, this is actually really inexpensive, and Vacation is a top 10 comedy of all time for me, so I was like, there's no way I can't get this movie at the price that it was at and get to revisit it. I love Vacation. It's hard for me to say that Christmas Vacation is my favorite one, but it's the one I get to watch every year at Christmas, so it's got this perennialness to it. I like Vacation. It's almost as good as Christmas Vacation. It's probably as good as Christmas Vacation, but I just don't watch it as often because it doesn't have a date assigned to it. Is that weird? I don't know. But this is a great movie. I have a small penchant for European Vacation too. I think it's fine. It's enjoyable at times. It's just not as good as the other two. Vegas Vacation's the same way. There's some good stuff in there, but it's not altogether a very good movie. And I haven't seen the 2015 reboot yet. I also upgraded my copy of The Neverending Story to Blu-ray. This is another childhood favorite of mine. I actually confused the first and second film a lot because I'd watch bits and pieces of them on TV. First one was a major step above the second one. The second one's it's fine, but it's not nearly as good as this first movie. This is Wolfgang Petersen, who did Troy. He did the Poseidon remake. I love this movie. It's dark though. Like, I think a lot of people don't realize, because it's kind of a kid's movie at times, but it's super dark. I love the makeup effects. Like, a lot of people I knew who grew up with The Princess Bride or Willow. This was like my Princess Bride or Willow. I just didn't watch those two as a kid very often, but I watched the hell out of this movie. And so getting a chance to get a Blu-ray of it didn't hurt. It's a good movie. I also upgraded my copy of the Beverly Hills Cop Trilogy to Blu-ray. It's an inexpensive trilogy. Again, slimmer than the other copy I had, so save some space on the shelves. I love the first movie. I love the second one. I might like it more. I don't know. Third one is a big steaming pile of garbage. I really thought I would like it more than most people because I think I can temper my expectations really well when I'm going into a movie. If I'm told it's terrible, then I can find something to like about it. There's very little to like about that third movie. It's a big misfire. And hopefully they make a fourth one, because I think it'd be fun to have this series end on a bit of a higher note than that. But first two movies alone are great. Third one's a bit, ugh. This is a movie I've never seen before up next. It's a Wonderful Life. It's Christmas, and I haven't seen It's a Wonderful Life. And this one comes with kind of a story of me being kind of a jerk to my mother when I was a kid. She bought this movie when I was in middle school, high school, and I was huge on movies when I was a kid. She always wanted to watch it, and I always told her no. And I feel really bad about that. I feel like we were always watching the stuff I wanted to watch, the movies I was into. And she never complained. She's the kind of person who doesn't complain. When she comes down to visit us, she goes shopping at all the places everybody else wants to go, and she never stops where she wants to go. She never does a single thing for herself. And it breaks my heart that I never watched It's a Wonderful Life with her. And so when I go to visit her on Christmas, I'm probably going to take this with, and I'm probably going to try to see if I can get her to watch it with me. But I don't know. At this point, maybe she won't. Maybe she'll watch. Maybe she already saw it by herself. But I do want to see the movie. So that's my sad story about It's a Wonderful Life. I'm gonna watch this movie. I'm probably gonna love it. This is one from my youth. I remember the commercial for, but I never saw. Idle Hands. This was I don't know if a specialty Image Entertainment released this. It just seems right up my alley, like this horror comedy, goofy 90s film with Devon Sawa and Seth Green. I've heard it's great. Rodman Flender directed it, who did one of the Leprechaun movies. And I don't know a ton about it. This guy's hands become possessed, I think. It sounds stupid, but I don't know. It's a movie I've not been able to catch for decades. So I'm going to check it out now that I've got a copy of it. I'm a big Spongebob Squarepants fan. I got Spongebob Sponge on the Run, which is the third film. I was a little disappointed with the second SpongeBob movie, Sponge Out of Water, I believe, because it kind of just was a collection of random happenstance and stuff happening, but didn't really feel like it was a real story all the way through. Whereas the first SpongeBob movie, I maintain, is like, I don't know, that might be a top 10 comedy for me. I don't know, that first SpongeBob movie is fire. It is amazing. It is a movie that I watched way too many times to be able to properly admit to you. But I did get the third one. It was a lot less expensive than I expected it to be. And I want to watch this movie. I love SpongeBob. I love the show. And I love one of the movies. And the other one I liked. It was fine. But here's hoping this one's kind of a bit more towards that top mount. Let's see here. Oh, we got ourselves Barb and Star go to Vista Del Mar. Caught this one this year at a recommendation from a friend. I thought it looked terrible. I know that it was Annie Momolo and Kristen Wiig from Bridesmaids. I think they wrote the script for Bridesmaids, and then Wiig was in the movie, and they wrote the script for this. I did not expect this movie to be good. I was so shocked to find that it's fantastic. This is probably one of the best comedies of the year, maybe the best comedy of the year. I live in the Midwest, so I get that. I know a Barb and Star in my life, these Midwestern women working at this furniture store that decide to go out and kind of reform their lives when problems hit at home. And the adventure they go on, it's a little goofy, it's a little nutty. There's a whole like subplot with like international intrigue that's okay. But the way they react to what their situation is, it's very funny. This movie was wonderful, and I'm excited to see it again. New from Criterion Collection. It's Once Upon a Time in China. This, I don't have much knowledge on Once Upon a Time in China, but I really, really love. I don't know. I really, really love these long kind of series that we get. Like this Chinese identity, history, culture. You're gonna definitely see a unboxing video for this. This just sounded really exciting to me. I don't know much about it. I'm trying to like look at the back while I'm talking about it. I knew Jet Li was the star of it, and I know there's 5 films in the set. I think there's a 6th one that's actually in the set as a special feature, but it's like not as good or something like that. I don't remember. But I love these like long series of action spectacle movies that we've gotten from Criterion. They don't do it often, but when they hit one where they do like all the Godzilla movies, they kind of hit that genre level, of like Once Upon a Time in China movies, all the Godzilla movies, all the Zatoichi movies, all the Lone Wolf and Cub movies, and like having like an entire series, like singular narrative that builds upon itself was really exciting to me. I dig this movie set, and I can't wait to watch all of them because I've never seen any of them. I upgraded my copies of the Santa Claus trilogy to Blu-ray. I got nothing to say about it. They're not great movies, but there's a nostalgic level to me that enjoys watching that first one. The younger people in my life, I tend to pick up some more younger people movies because I have younger people in my life now. I've got 3 nephews. I have a niece. I have kind of a godson. I'm part of the family that kind of helps to teach the kid how to grow. So I consider him my godson. And this is a movie I can show them that I find enjoyable. But they're bad movies. Even the first one's not that great. But I enjoy all 3 of them for what they are. Tim Allen's a bit of a dirtbag, but sorry, did I say that out loud? I also got the Blu-ray of The Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It. The 3 was not there when I watched this movie the first time. They added it because people were confused, I think. I was looking around to try and get a 4K of this, but I just didn't get it cheap enough. This was an inexpensive copy. It's not as good as the first 2 Conjuring movies. It's not as good as some of the other Conjuring universe movies. It's enjoyable. It's well made. It just, and I think that it hinges on the central performance between Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson. They make the movie, it's just not as good, and it makes the problems of the series a bit more notable because we know that Ed and Lorraine Warren were probably full of crap, and a lot of the stuff they did was kind of not okay. And this is one where they tried to get a murderer off by saying he was possessed. And if he was possessed, that's one thing. But like, I don't know, it feels weird as you watch the movie. It becomes more noticeable that like it's kind of odd the way we're rooting in this movie. But whatever, so be it now. Not whatever. That's not what I meant. I just mean like on the actual topic of the movie is entertaining. It's just not as good as the other ones. And I think them being so great makes it noticeable if this is not as good. All right. Up next, we got a 4K of Snake Eyes. I haven't seen the second G.I. Joe film, Retaliation, yet, but I'm shepherding this franchise. I want it to be good. I want it to be entertaining. So I'm excited to see Snake Eyes. I missed this one in theaters because it didn't have great reviews, and I chose to see something that I had a little bit more faith in. Another movie franchise that I feel like every time I get a little bit further, something else comes into the way, and that is the Forever Purge. I got the 4K of this. So when the first Purge was coming out, I mean like the movie The First Purge, I was like, I gotta watch these movies. Because I had Purge, Anarchy, Election Year, and I had the first season of the show. I think that was what I had. First Purge came out, and I was like, I gotta watch this. So I watched the original Purge movie with Ethan Hawke. This movie came out, so then I was still 3 movies behind. And then when I heard the Forever Purge was coming out, I was like, oh, I'll get caught up and I'll go see that one in the theater. And I watched Purge Anarchy. And I didn't get to finish the other 2, because I still need to watch Election Year, the first Purge, and the TV show. And so I didn't get a chance to do those, and then this came out on 4K. So now I have this. I'm still 3 movies behind, and the show. I will get caught up on this eventually. Picked up a DVD copy of Yesterday. It was super cheap. I like this movie. It's a sweet little romance comedy. It's not perfect, but it is uplifting, and I did find it to be kind of heartfelt. I found it entertaining. I like the movie. It's a bit of a mess, but I enjoyed watching it, and I will watch it again. And it was like $2. So there you go. I picked up the 4K for A Quiet Place Part 2. I like this movie a lot. It's not as good as the first movie, but it's pretty close in terms of quality. It adds some things that the first movie didn't miss, but it expands upon the first movie. It makes the first movie better by its very existence. And it's a good little twofer. I hope that they don't all keep ending on endings that are kind of endings, but kind of cliffhangers. This one does it a little bit more than the first one did. But it's a good movie. It's just more of the same. If you're looking for something different, it's not different. It's the same. Let's see. This one I got to take a little sticker off again, so let's talk about this movie while I'm doing it. Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse. I thought this movie looked terrible when it came out, so I didn't bother seeing it. But as it turns out, the director of that film was also the director of Paranormal Activity: The Marked Ones, which might be still my favorite Paranormal Activity movie. He also did Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day to You, which are both great movies. I dug the Happy Death Day movies, so I thought, you know what, I should swing back and check out Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse. I was in Scouts, so I will probably find a little bit of kinship to the film, hopefully. And worst comes to worst, it's a short, entertaining little zombie movie. Is there anything really wrong with that? I like the writer-director of it, and I haven't really hated anything that he's directed. I'm not big on a few of the things he's written. That last Paranormal Activity movie, Next of Kin, was terrible. I got the sticker off most of this. Escape Room Tournament of Champions. This is the second Escape Room movie. Escape Room 1, pleasantly surprising. It's not a horror movie. It's more of a thriller, and it's one that you have to distance yourself from reality because it's over the top and silly. But this is a good movie. I enjoyed it quite a bit. The second one is not as good. There's a few things it So the second movie feels like it's going to elaborate on some of the mysteries from the first movie. It doesn't really. This is more like the Hunger Games catching fire of this series, where it's like, literally the story is pretty much the same as the Hunger Games catching fire compared to the original film. It's not as good. It's entertaining still, but I do wish that they would it doesn't build on the mythology at all. It kind of just uses it again. But I wish that we would build on the mythology, because there's a lot of mysteries left over from that first film. So I'm hoping if a third movie comes out, it elaborates on that. I also got this too because it had the extended cut on it, which maybe adds something more to it. I think that's what I've heard from people, is that it adds a lot more to the mythology, which is what interested me. This right here, the 4K for The Shawshank Redemption. This is one of my favorite movies. I didn't know it was a Stephen King movie when I watched it, because it doesn't really sell itself as one, but I think it's my brother's favorite movie, or one of his favorites. My mother convinced me to watch it one day. I was not excited for it, but she convinced me to watch it, and I fell in love with this movie. And it's one of those movies I've been able to show it to other people for the first time. So that was really fun, and I really, really enjoyed that. This movie is great. I had a DVD of it. I wanted the 4K. It was actually pretty inexpensive for this copy of it. I can't wait to watch it again. It's kind of been a few years since I've watched Shawshank Redemption. All right. Up next here, we have Jason Statham in Wrath of Man. I'm not the biggest fan of some of Guy Ritchie's crime movies. I don't dislike them. I just don't really get into them. Up until The Gentleman, I had not really found one that I down and out loved. And I love The Gentleman. I thought The Gentleman was so good. And so I've heard this one is kind of a different from his other movies a little bit too, but it's still kind of a crime movie. And I was like, I'll give it a try. I really like The Gentleman a lot, so I'm going to check out this one. And his new movie looks pretty interesting too, Operation something. That movie looks pretty entertaining too, so I will gladly check that one out. I also upgraded my copy of Mrs. Doubtfire to Blu-ray. I had a DVD, got a Blu-ray, pretty cheap. Saved some space on the shelf. It's a great comedy. I don't know if there's much more I can say about Mrs. Doubtfire. This was another surprise for me. Not a surprise because I didn't think it would be good, but I like when the movie was good. Warner Brothers released Those Who Wish Me Dead. I got the Blu-ray of this one. This is one I caught when it was on HBO Max during the day and date releases. So I caught it. It's not as good as Wind River. If we're talking about movies directed by I'm blanking on his name, Taylor Sheridan. It's not as good as Wind River, but it's an entertaining little 100-minute movie that just kind of barrels forward, and it's entertaining, it's exciting, and it's got a few interesting kind of twists and turns to it. But it's just kind of one of those movies they don't make a lot of those anymore, and I think people that were influenced by these movies back in the 90s are kind of creating better versions of them. I also picked up a couple of Scooby-Doo movies. I got Scooby-Doo meets Batman. I've never seen it before. I don't know. I have a lot of Scooby-Doo in my house, so I thought I'd add that one. This one is what excites me the more, and that's straight out of nowhere. Scooby-Doo meets Courage the Cowardly Dog. I grew up with both Courage the Cowardly Dog and Scooby-Doo, so seeing them together in one movie seems kind of exciting to me. So I'm looking forward to that one. I got a lot of Scooby-Doo in my life, though. All right, last couple things here. This one right here, I've still not seen this movie, but I do have Zack Snyder's Justice League on 4K now. This is another one, because it's 4 hours long, I want to watch it in one sitting. And I also don't feel the need to watch it to get caught up on stuff, because it's not really related to the DCEU anymore. But I want to see it, and this may not be around forever. I get the feeling like a home video release of Zack Snyder's Justice League may not be around for a long time. So getting a 4K of this, I was like, yeah, I better do that. I am excited to watch it, but part of me is just kind of like, it's not going to be canon. Like, whatever this movie ends at, I assume it ends on a cliffhanger, because it's not the full Justice League story. They were going to do 2 or 3 of those things. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm totally wrong about it. But I do want to see it, because I want to see how that movie turned out. I didn't hate the Joss Whedon recut that they did. It's just kind of a meh movie. It's very forgettable. You finish that movie and you're like, I don't know what happened in that movie, but it's over now. This one I'm hoping is much more memorable. I also got The Suicide Squad. This is the last thing on my box here. I got the 4K of that. The Suicide Squad was great. I went to the press screening for it, and then I watched it on HBO Max that very weekend with my wife, because she didn't get to go with me to the screening. And I was like, you got to see this movie. It is phenomenal. It's kind of exactly what you think James Gunn making a Suicide Squad movie is going to be. But the thing about him is that he's known for surprising people, and that's kind of, again, like, it's what I expected, was to be surprised by a lot of the things in this movie. There's a lot of standouts. Read my review if you want to see more about it. I really, really dug the Suicide Squad. So there you have it, guys. That's everything I bought in November of 2021. My battery's dying on my camera right now, so we're going to wrap up real quick by telling you can check out my film reviews at goatfilmreviews.com. Go to Facebook and follow Goat Film Reviews. You can also follow me online at Almighty Goatman. You can do that on Twitter and Instagram. You can check out my show, Kyle and Nick on Film. Links down in the description. You can check that out on YouTube. And we'll see you guys at the next one.